to Yoga with Kylie. And this practice is really about learning to get up and down off the floor with ease. So you may need a few props. So 3 blocks if you've got them. If you don't have 3 blocks, you could actually use some cans of food and just stack them up like blocks and use the can of food on your lower back. So either cans of food or 3 blocks. You may or may not need a stick or a broomstick, something like that, just to help you getting up and down. Blanket would be handy, or a towel, so that you could just raise the height, again, if you're having trouble getting up and down. And either a bolster or a pillow or something, again, just to give you a bit of height. And if you don't need any of this stuff, great, you can do it all without. So I'll show you options with and without the props. We'll begin by lying down on our back to start. And take your legs out long. And if it's uncomfortable for your lower back resting in Shavasana, then please feel free to bend your knees and just knock the knees in towards one another. And just take a moment to notice how your body feels. To notice the parts of your body that are in contact with the floor. And to notice the parts of your body that feel a little further away from the floor. And then notice the rotation of the legs. Maybe one rotates a little more than the other. And whether you have more pressure down through one leg or the other. Take that same observation up into the pelvis, the butt, the front of the hips. Noticing the space between your lower back and the floor. And noticing all the way up into the shoulders, the rotation of the arms, the fingertips. And if you were to imprint your body in the sand, notice what that would feel like right now, what it would look like right now. And once you've got that little representation for yourself, you're going to roll yourself over onto your right side so that the left side ribs are highest. And you can just make a little pillow out of your underneath arm or use your blanket underneath the head. And bring your left hand onto the ribs and then start to breathe into your hand. So on the breath in, expand the ribs towards the ceiling. And as you breathe out, follow the ribs down and in with your hand. So providing a little squish. Inhale into your hand. And as you exhale, squish down and in. And just keep repeating this. If your breath is a little faster or slower than my cues, that's okay. Just work with your breath rhythm. And just assisting the rib cage with that exhalation. And also just reminding the body, the mind, that you can breathe into this lateral aspect of the ribs. Good. On this next one, you'll exhale, squish down and hold the squish down. Breathe into the back side ribs and the underneath rib cage a little more. And feel how you can direct the breath into other parts. And then on your next breath in, allow the ribs to spring back into your hand. And then roll yourself back into your Shavasana position and just take a little note. Has anything changed? Does the left side feel any different to the right? What about the lower back? Is it sitting a little closer or further away from the floor on one side versus the other? And then once you've got that idea of how it's changed, you can roll over onto the other side. So this time the right side ribs will be highest. Again, use that pillow or your blanket underneath the head if you need to. Stack the knees and bring your hand on top of the ribs. And as you breathe in, fill into your hand. And as you breathe out, squish down. Breathe in, fill into your hand. And breath out, you squish down. Okay, keep repeating this. Remembering you can go a little faster or slower, but just really trying to feel the rib cage expansion. At the same time, feeling that assistance that you are providing with your hand. The next time that you are exhaling, squish down and hold that. And then breathe into the backside ribs, the underside ribs a little more. And one more breath, just directing the breath into other parts of the thoracic spine. And then as you breathe in, allow the ribs to spring back into your hand. And then exhale and roll onto your back. And again, take that little check in. Notice if anything has changed. And then slide your right leg in and stand the foot on the ground. We'll do a little bit of release work for the hips. So as you breathe in, let the knee fall towards your long leg. Come onto the big toe side of the foot. As you breathe out, draw the knee back to center. Bring the foot back to the floor. Breath in, roll to the big toe side of the foot. And breath out, draw the knee back to center. Just roll the hips straight to the floor. One more time. Breath in, rock the knee over. And breath out, nice and easily back to center. This time as you breathe in, roll to the pinky side of the foot. The knee will flop open. And as you exhale, draw it back to center. Now, if it's feeling a little jerky or jumpy, make the movement a little smaller. Inhale, open the knee. And exhale, press the foot into the floor. Knee comes back to center. One more time, roll onto the pinky side of the foot. Knee opens. Exhale slowly back to center. Now this time adding the two movements together. So breath in, rock to the big toe side of the foot, knee falls in. Breath out, rock to the pinky toe side of the foot as the knee falls open. Breath in, rock all the way over to the big toe side of the foot. And breath out, rolling to the pinky toe side of the foot. And again, just trying to keep the movement nice and easy, nice and gentle, nice and slow. One more time, all the way in and all the way out. Draw your knee back to the midline and nice and slowly extend the leg long. Take a little moment to observe if anything has changed in that right side. And then slide your left leg in, stand it on the floor. As you breathe in, roll to the big toe side of the foot. And as you breathe out, roll the knee back to the center. So try not to move too much else other than rolling to the big toe side of the foot and letting the knee squeeze in. And then the hip rolls straight back to the floor. So notice if you're arching the spine or doing anything else. One more time, rock onto the big toe side of the foot. And then nice and slowly back to the center. Now rock onto the pinky toe side of the foot into inversion and then back to the center, press the foot down. Inhale, open. And exhale, draw the foot back to the floor. One more time, inhale, open. And exhale, bring the foot back to the floor. Nice, easy movement. Combining the two now. So on the inhale, rock to the big toe side, knee falls in. And on the exhale, rock to the pinky toe side, knee falls open. Inhale, draw the knee in. And again, you're trying to keep it within a range that feels easeful where there's no jerkiness, stutteriness in the motion. So if there is, just make it a little smaller. Knee falls out. One more time. Come all the way in. And come all the way out. So just releasing the inner thighs, as well as that hip flexor and TFL. Good, and then slide the leg out long, take a little check-in. Notice if the body feels any different from when you first lay down. And now draw both legs in, stand the feet on the floor. And you might need to go a little wider with your feet. You're going to roll onto the pinky toe side of the foot, so the knees will flop open. Press down through the feet, raise your hips up. And now roll to the big toe side of the foot, knees come together, slowly lower your hips to the floor. Roll to the pinky toe side of the foot, press to rise. Roll to the big toe side of the foot as you slowly come down. Good, roll to the pinky toe side, press to come up. Squeeze knees together as you roll to the big toe side and come down. Good, a few more rounds. Just time it with your breath rhythm. Really feeling the external rotation with the inversion and the internal rotation with the inversion. Good, a couple more. Good, this time squeeze the knees together, drop the hips down. Now come up in internal rotation, open out to external rotation and come down. Roll to the big toe side of the foot, internally rotate and come up. Roll to the pinky toe side of the foot as you come down. Roll to the big toe side, squeeze knees, come up, so adduction. Roll to the pinky toe side, abduction as you come down. Two more. Roll in, squeeze, lift up. Roll out as you lower down. Last one. And lower. And just getting into other aspects of the hips. And then bring your feet perhaps a little closer in, so more like hip distance apart. Press down through the feet, raise your hips up. And then just nice slow marching one at a time, drawing one knee in followed by the other, really trying to keep both hip points as level as you can. So notice if there's a tendency for one hip to drop. And also notice what you have to do through your foot, through your butt, the back of the leg to hold the position. So are you pressing a little more down through the heel in order to activate the butt? To keep the hips nice and high. Good, draw the left knee in, pause. Now draw circles with your left knee without the hips moving. So you can bring your two fingers to your hip points just to make sure that nothing else is moving. Check that the core is not twisting as well. And you might feel that right buttock start to fire up a little more. Good, one more circle. And then place the left foot down, transition to the other side, right knee comes in. Circles with the right knee, trying to anchor down through the left heel as much as you can. As you anchor down through that left heel, notice if your core is starting to twist. If it is, just make the movement a little smaller. So really just trying to find that range where you are true to hip movement, without the pelvis and the spine coming to. Good, and then place the foot down and lower your hips to the floor. Give your legs a little squeeze, a little rock and roll, and then rock your way up to tabletop. Now this is where you'll want your either your cans of food or your blocks. So you're going to stack two of your blocks alongside your hip, and then the other block is going to go onto your lower back. So essentially, the blocks are going to stop you from swinging your hip out to the side, because that will happen. So you're going to try and keep away from the blocks or your cans of food. So if you're using cans of food, just stack them exactly the same way. Take the other block and place it on your lower back. So now it's the leg away from your blocks that is going to be the working leg. So you'll squeeze the heel up to the butt and then kick the knee to the sky. And then begin to draw circles with that knee, taking up as much space as you can without losing your blocks. If you want to make it more challenging, the opposite side hand comes away from the floor. And see if you can take up bigger and bigger circles without losing your blocks. Notice where you're starting to maybe steal into the lumbar spine or sink into that supporting hip. So let's do one more big circle. And then place the knee down. And you'll switch your blocks over to the other side. Getting right up against the blocks or the tins. Place the tin or your block on your lower back. Push the ground away. Kick the heel to your butt and then kick the knee up. And then begin to create your circles. And so the first couple of circles might be a little safer. And then you might start to expand that motion. If you like, the opposite side hand can also come away, so you're starting to work even more into the obliques and your core. Keep squeezing the heel to your butt as you circle. Good, and then release the hand and the knee down. And just relax. If you need to roll out your wrists, roll out your wrists. And then step 1 foot forward. Coming into a low lunge position, we're going to do a little bit of work through the toes and the ankle. So shift your knee as far forward as you can and then drive down through the heel. So ideally the heel is not lifting away from the floor. And you want to get this knee as far as you can forward. And then at that point, you're going to try and lift all of your toes away from the floor. And they possibly won't lift. You might just see all the tendons popping in the foot. So notice that. As you drive down through the heel, you'll probably feel a more intense stretch through the back of the leg, the calf muscle. And then notice all of the creases in your foot and your ankle. Try and keep those as you shift all the way back. So notice you've got all those creases. You're doing active dorsiflexion. Now you're going to keep coming back to this place. You're going to tap the floor and come back up. Tap, come back up. We start to work tibialis anterior muscle in the front of the shin. Really try to work for that dorsiflexion as much as you can. Good, 3, 2, 1. Place the foot down, work into the toes now. So you may need to squish down on your little toes in order to just lift the big toe up. So we just want the big toe up, the other toes are staying down. And you can use your hands to squish them down. Bring your fingers underneath the big toe and then try and push the big toe down into your fingers. So it's like you want to push the big toe down to the floor. Hold that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now pull the toe away from your fingers as much as you can. Still squishing the other toes down. Again, press down into your fingers with the big toe. And trying to work a little bit more dorsiflexion and also being able to use this toe separate to the other toes. Really important for our push off when we're walking and running. Good, pull the toe away. And then release that toe down, pick up the little toes. And this time you might have to push your big toe to the floor. Now as you pick up the little toes and you push the big toe down, can you keep trying to make that same action that you were just doing when you were pushing into your fingers? And the toes may curl in response to that, that's okay. So you're just trying to awaken those muscles in the same way that we just did. Keep the little toes away from the floor. 3, 2, 1. Good, relax them down. Shift forward one more time, knee over the ankle. Press down through the heel. Try to lift all of the toes up. Keep the creases in your ankle, shift back, pull the toes up. Tap the floor. Keep coming back to that active dorsiflexion. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, come back to low lunge again. This time you're going to drive down through your right heel. Feel how that starts to awaken your right glute, and then use that action to press and rise all the way up. Now, if you need to, you can hold on to that stick and use the stick alongside you. Slowly come back to the low lunge. You're going to tap the toes to the floor and then nice and slowly lower down. So if you're using the stick, it will look like so, and you're going to push into the stick each time. Drive down through your heel, lift all the way up. And then nice and slowly, toes come to the floor as you lower back down. So you may stay with doing this version, keeping the foot in contact with the floor. Otherwise, drive down, lift up. This time, try and keep the leg away from the floor as long as you can. Sink down as close to the floor as you can before you lower the shin bone and come back. Low lunge. Drive down, lift up. If you're using the stick, you can do like so. And then pull the heel in nice and tight. Use the stick as your balance as you lower down. Keep the foot away from the floor as long as you can, heel to butt. And then at the last minute, place the shin bone down. Drive down, stand up. Really connect to that right glute. Slowly lower yourself back down. Keep the foot away from the floor as long as you can. And then at the last minute, shin back to the floor. One more time, push down, lift up. Nice and slowly. Pull the heel into your butt. Get close to the floor. And then release. Switch over other side. So left foot forward to begin with. Bring your knee as far forward as you can. Drive the heel down at the back. And then try and lift all of your toes up. Notice the tendons starting to pop in the front of the foot. Notice the creases in your ankle. And then keep all of those creases as you shift back and pull the toes up. Look at the creases. You want all of those creases as you drop and come back. Drop and come back. Good. Smack the floor, lift it up. You notice if you're starting to lose that active dorsiflexion. Really work for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Foot to the floor. Just your big toe lifts this time. And remember, you can use your fingers to push the other toes down. Then you're going to slide your other fingers underneath the big toe and push down. So it's like you want to send your big toe to the floor. And keep that. And then try and pull away from your fingers. Try that again. Push down into your fingers. You're really awakening those muscles that help to flex the foot, flex the toe rather. And then pull it into dorsiflexion, pull it away from for your fingers. Good. Place the big toe down. Now see if you can lift all of your other toes up. And you can press the finger down into the big toe to keep it down. And then see if you can activate those same muscles that we were trying to push down into your fingers. So imagining your fingers are underneath your toe. Push down as you pull the other toes up. Good. Release the toes down, shift the knee forward. Drive down through your heel, try and pick up all of your toes. And then keep the creases in your ankle as you shift back, pull the toes up. Tap the floor, come up. Tap the floor, come up. Really try and get all of those creases back into your ankle each time. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come back into low lunge. Feel that energy going down through your left heel. So really driving into the earth. Feel how your left butt starts to wake up. You can even give it a little pat. Push down, stand up. Knee to chest. Nice and slowly, toes come to the floor as you lower the knee back down. Remember, you can use that stick to aid you. Drive down, push to rise. Nice and slowly, toes to the floor as you come down. Drive down, push to rise. This time, pull the heel to the butt. Lower as low as you can without putting the shin bone down. Get as close to the floor as you can. And then last moment, place the shin down. Drive down, lift up. Heel comes to the butt, nice and slowly you lower down. Get as close to the floor as you can, and then knee down. Drive down, lift up. Squeeze into that left buttock. Nice and slowly descend. How close can you get to the floor? And then knee down. One more time, drive down, lift up. And then nice and slowly making your way down. Notice it's that same dorsiflex position that we were just practicing in your standing leg. Good, knee down, relax. All right, we're going to come into a deer position. And so for deer, you want one leg forward and one leg tucked back. Now, if you feel like you're kind of rocking to one side quite a bit, you're going to slide the blanket underneath that side that you're rocking to. If you don't need the blanket, then you might just sit on the floor. And you may need that stick, okay? So we're going to be coming up and down in this position. So the first part is to get yourself up. So you can either reach forward, push down, and lift up. Or if you need to, grab that stick out in front, push down into the stick, lean forward, get yourself up. Once you're up, we're basically going to flirt with the floor a little. So start to send your hips back in space. Go as far back as you can before you feel like you're going to fall down, and then come back up. And again, go as far back as you can without falling or losing control, and come back up. And you might be at a slightly shorter range than what I'm demonstrating. You know, you might be in this top quarter, and that's totally fine. Push down, lift up. Good, lean back. Try and slow down the descent. Push down, rise up. Hopefully feeling something happening in this front leg hip. As we start to eccentrically work into the glutes. Good. This time, get as close to the floor as you can and hover there. So without losing control, hover there. Keep pressing down through the shin bone. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come all the way down. Now we're going to come up and down. Again, if you need to keep using that stick, you'll press down, lift up, and then come back down to the floor. Press down, lift up. You may just reach the arms out in front. Slowly back down to the floor. Good. Press down, lift up. Slow motion back down. Let's do one more. Press down, lift up. And then slow motion as you lower. Good. Release the legs out in front. Give them a little shake out. You might be feeling quite a bit of heat in that leg that was in front. Let's try the other side. So finding your deer position. So one leg forward, shin bone forward, other leg tucked in behind. Remember, if you feel like you're leaning over to one side a lot, you know, wedge a blanket underneath the hip just to lift you up a little. And then you may want to use that stick again, particularly for this first one. So if you're using the stick, it's out in front, you're going to push down into the stick, push down into your legs to lift yourself up. And then once you're up, you can use that stick to help you balance as you lean back and then come back up. So remember, you're just kind of flirting with the ranges that you can maintain control over. And you might start to get a little deeper with each repetition as your body gets used to this shape. This is actually how children get up and down quite a bit. So it's something that was there in our bodies way back when. It's just we've not used it, and so we've lost that ability to do it as easily. A couple more. And this next one you're going to flirt with as close to the floor as you can. So that point just before you're about to lose it and plop down. And hold that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower to your butt. Either with or without the stick, push down, come back up. Slowly lower all the way down. Push down, come back up. Nice and slowly lean the body forward as you sit down. Good. Press into the legs, rise up. Lean forward, slow motion descent. And again, press down, lift up. Hinge at the hips as you slowly descend. Good. One more. Lift up, hinge, and slow motion descend. Good. And then give your legs a little wriggle out. So I'm going to move into getting up and down from a cross-legged position. So eventually what you want is to push into the outside edges of the feet like we were doing earlier in our bridge. You'll reach forward, a little rock and roll to lift up. Obviously that's quite challenging if you're new to it. So grab yourself a bolster. You could even stack 2 bolsters on top of one another, or a bolster and a rolled up blanket to give yourself more height. So we'll do it from a slightly higher position so it's a little bit easier. And you are more than welcome to use the stick again. Okay, so while the body is learning something new and building the strength that we need, feel free to use whatever props you need. So first of all, carve your feet into the floor. Reach the arms forward or onto your stick, and then do a little kind of rocking action. Rock forward, push down, and you'll stand up. Rock forward, push down, stand up. And then nice and slowly hinge at the hips to sit your back hips back down. Reach forward, push down, come up. Slowly sit back down. And again, reach forward, push down, come up. Nice and slowly sit the hips back down. Let's switch over the leg that's in front. So it might be your non-dominant leg, so it might be a little bit more challenging. Reach forward, push down, lift up. Hinge at the hips, slow motion, descend back to your bolster. Push down, come up. Slow motion, descend back to your bolster. So now you can choose to keep going with the bolster. If you want to try something a little lower, you could take the bolster out of the way, maybe go to a block so it's a little bit less, or even straight to the floor. So I'll demonstrate on a block, but feel free to sit your hips on the floor if you like. Same thing, reach forward, push down, lift up. Slowly hinge at the hips, bring your hips back to the block. Push down, lift up. Slowly send your hips back, slow the descent, back to the block. One more on this side, lift up, and then nice and slowly, all the way down. Switch which leg's in front. I'm going to do the last few just on the ground. Reach forward, push down, lift up. Slowly sit down. Really carve into the outer edges of your feet as you come down. Push down, come up. Keep carving the outer edges of your feet into the floor as you lower down. One more, push down, lift up. And then nice and slowly coming back down. Good, give the legs a little shake out. So this last little variation is kind of a combo of some of the things we've been working on. If you were sitting on the floor, it would be like an Ardha Matsyendrasana position. So less challenging, the foot is kind of in line with your other foot. More challenging, you cross the legs all the way over. Okay, so anywhere along this shin bone is where the foot can rest. I'll show you what it looks like on the bolster first, and then I'll show you how to progress. So on the bolster, bottom leg is going to rest on the floor. Front leg is going to rest with the foot on the floor, knee pointing to the sky. Now the further forward you go, the more momentum you can kind of generate to get up. The further back you go, the more mobility you're going to need in the ankle and the hip. So choose a kind of area that feels right for you. You're going to reach forward, lean forward, drive down through the heel, push down, come up, knee to chest. And then slide that leg in behind, slowly sit down and back to the bolster. So you can see how it's kind of half of that dare shape that we did earlier, and the little shrimp squats as well. Reach forward, push down, drive up, knee to chest. Slowly tuck that leg in behind, hover it away from the floor, shin bone down, butt down. Reach forward, push down, come up. Tuck the leg in behind, keep the heel close to the butt as you slowly send your hips back, shin comes to the floor, and then the butt comes down. Switch over. So that underneath shin bone resting on the floor, and you can kind of press into that just like we did in the dare shape earlier. Reach the arms forward. Remember, stick is also an option here as well. So if you're finding it difficult to get up, just use the stick while your body is learning. Push down, come all the way up. Tuck the leg in behind, nice and slowly, hover it away, shin bone down, hips back down. Lean forward, push down, come up. Tuck the leg in behind, nice and slowly, hover, 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 shin bone down, hip down. Reach forward, push down, come up. Tuck the leg in behind, keep the heel up, hover, 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 shin bone down, hip down. So you can keep going with the bolster. I'm just going to show you the progression. So obviously, like we did before, you could go down to just sitting on a block or sitting on a blanket. And then how crossed you go with this foot is going to make it more challenging. So I'll show you kind of the most challenging position, which is to have the foot all the way across in line with the knee. So for this, same action, reach forward, push down, come all the way up. Tuck the leg in behind. This time really squeeze the knees and the inner thighs as you slowly sit down, hips to the floor. So you can see it's that Ardha Matsyendrasana position. Reach forward, push down, come up. Tuck it in behind, squeeze the inner thighs. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Hover just away from the floor. And then shin bone down, hips down. Push down, rise up, knee to chest. Slowly tuck it in behind, squeeze inner thighs. Get close to the floor and then sit down. Switch to the other side. So choose the cross of your legs. Remember, the more open, the easier it is. Reach forward, push down, lift up. Tuck it in behind, squeeze the inner thighs. Hover, hover, hover. Get close to the floor, reach forward, and then hips down. Push down, rise up. Tuck the leg in behind, reach forward, hover, 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 and sit down. One more time, push down, lift up. Tuck that leg in behind. Squeeze the inner thighs, lean the torso forward, find that counterbalance, hover, and sit down. Awesome. Come into an easy cross leg position, and that could be on your bolster, on the blanket, and then just walk the hands forward a little, so you get a little stretch through the outer hips. And walk the hands back, switch which leg is in front, and then same thing, walk the hands forward, anchor down through your sitting bones, slow down your exhalation. walk the hands back. And reach your legs out in front of you. And then just slowly lower all the way down onto your back. And once you're on the back, just give the legs a little wriggle out. And just take a couple of moments on your back, just noticing all of that sensory information. Noticing how your body feels now in comparison to when you first lay down. Noticing that aliveness in and around the hips. And perhaps greater stability as you connect to all of these big muscles in the legs. That connection down through your feet into the earth. And feel free to stay in Shavasana as long as you need to. And have a beautiful day. Hari Om Tat Sat.